from the beginning, just so that we have a fresh take.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a second. All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Scaling Through Crisis, featuring inspiring entrepreneurs as they meet the challenge head on. Scaling Through Crisis amplifies the stories of the small business owners, startup founders, and scale-up entrepreneurs that are thinking big and finding opportunity in crisis, as well as inspiring a generation. This program is brought to you by Endeavor, and Endeavor is a mission-driven global organization that believes that job creation, innovation, and overall prosperity flourish where there is a robust support for high-impact entrepreneurs. So today, my guest is a lady by the name of Yanmo Omorogbe. I hope I pronounced that properly. Yanmo leads growth and operations as a director of growth at Bamboo, which is a digital investment platform that gives Nigerians real-time access to buy, sell, or hold assets traded on the US stock exchanges right from their mobile phones or computers. So Yanmo, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for being with us. I'd like to start by asking you how you're doing in this global pandemic.
Yes, I mean, first of all, thank you very much for having me. How I'm doing? I'm okay. I can't complain. All things considered, I'm well. Business is going well, although differently. We've adjusted and everything is working out.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So can you please start by telling us a little bit about your company, Bamboo?
So Bamboo is an online brokerage service that gives Africans access to global investment opportunities. We launched last year, and since then we have processed trades for thousands of users, both in Nigeria and abroad. And the real aim of Bamboo is to democratize investing for Africans. We believe Africans everywhere should be able to easily invest in everything, anywhere, and earn real returns.
Okay, well, fantastic. Okay, so thank you for telling us about your company. I'm interested to find out, what was the inspiration behind you wanting to set up such a company? I mean, you said you wanted to democratize, access to, for Africans to be able to invest in all types of companies and stocks worldwide. But what really inspired you to start Bamboo?
For myself and my co-founder, it was personal need, really. We wanted to invest in the US market, and there was no easy and affordable way for us to do that from Nigeria. And so we essentially started solving a problem for ourselves and realized that there were many people with the same problem and it could be a business, really.
Okay, well, fantastic. Okay, so for our audience, a stock is also known as equity. It's essentially a security that represents the ownership of a fraction of a corporation. This entitles the owner of the stock to a proportion of the corporation's assets and profits equal to how much stock they own. Units of stock are called shares. Just for those of you who are tuning in and might not know what stocks essentially are. So Yanmo, thank you for telling us about that. I wonder how the pandemic has affected Bamboo as a company. Could you talk to us a little bit about how the COVID-19 pandemic may or may not have affected you?
As a company, in terms of our people, the most direct impact is that we all work from home. So I'm, having this interview from my house. The entire team is largely working from home until further notice. But aside that, in terms of business operations, we'd already been set up to allow remote working, so there wasn't that much of a difference. And from we're a tech company, so for a lot of our users, a lot of our business operations didn't require in-person interactions with our users. So what we've had to do, though, is to adapt to the current situation. We now hold more events via Zoom. We now hold Instagram Live with our users, whereas we have tried to organize offline events or do marketing activities. We now do marketing activities online as opposed to in person. So that has been, so the shift to a virtual world has been a change. But aside that, for our users investing, the coronavirus, the pandemic, and the ensuing stock market crash in March provided buying opportunities for a lot of users because, as you probably know, a lot of people didn't have previous access to US markets earlier. So the drop in prices meant that a lot of people were able to get into stocks for relatively cheap. and we've seen a sharp rebound in a very short period of time. So luckily, people are already making money, and the hope is that we continue to provide ways for them to continue building wealth, pandemic or no pandemic.
Okay, and that's definitely some great points. Okay, so can you just walk us through how Bamboo works? So if I download it, so I actually downloaded it on my phone yesterday. So can you just walk us through what the process is, and exactly how does one actually buy stocks? If, for example, I have a Naira account, can you kind of just walk us through the process?
Sure. The Bamboo app is available on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. So whatever device you have, you can download the Bamboo app, and it's Bamboo Invest Trade Earn on the app stores. Or otherwise, if you go to investbamboo.com, there's a download link right there, so you don't have to search for it. Once you download the app, we ask you a couple of questions and for some information. One thing we do ask for is your BVN, your bank verification number, and we use the number to verify that you are who you say you are. So we don't store your BVN. It gives us no access whatsoever to your bank accounts. We just literally use it for KYC to verify each user on our platform. The reason we have to do this is for regulatory reasons, because you're opening a brokerage account. I always tell people, think about it like opening a bank account, all the information you had to submit just to open a bank account. But we just collect your BVN so that you don't have to do that twice. Once you put in your BVN, the next step, we ask you some basic questions that are US regulatory questions, just to get a feel of your investment profile. So what kind of investor are you? Are you new to investing? Are you an experienced investor? And then what is your risk profile as well? And these are just questions that were mandated to ask, and information were mandated to collect by our regulators. And it will also help us down the line provide tailored options for you. Once you're downloaded, once you get onto the app, the next thing you obviously want to do is deposit money. You're able to deposit in Naira or dollars, and via multiple payments or multiple options, including by card, bank transfer, a wire transfer, Flutterwave, if you have a Flutterwave barter account, various options. And if you want an option that we don't have listed, please send a message to support@investbamboo.com, and somebody will probably, try and help you. Once you deposit money, it takes about a day for the money to settle and be in your Bamboo wallet. And once the money is in your Bamboo wallet, you can immediately start trading. We have we have thousands of US exchange listed stocks on the platforms, and we have stocks as well as ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, so that if you don't want to pick and select, individual stocks yourself, you can just buy into funds. So most of us here are familiar with mutual funds. So if you think about an exchange listed mutual fund, it's that kind of thing, and they give you a lot of exposure. So, that's the essential process, and it works the same way for selling stocks and withdrawing as well. So we charge a flat commission fee, and you see all fees before you ever have to place trades. There are no hidden fees. And the exchange rate, if you deposit in Naira, is the exchange rate that we get from our payment partners. But like we always say, if you think you can get a better exchange rate elsewhere, we're very happy for you to deposit in dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a quick summary.
All right, so thank you for that quick summary. So there's so many ways that I could pivot, but I'd like to ask a question around the depreciation of the Naira. So on average, the Naira depreciates by 14% a year. So how does this affect investing in stocks in the US?
So because all your assets on Bamboo right now, if you're buying US exchange listed securities, your assets are going to be held in dollars. So you're protected from Naira devaluation. So even if you deposit, we do have a rule that if you deposit in Naira, when you withdraw, we have to pay you out in Naira. But we pay you out in Naira at the prevailing market exchange rates at the time that you withdraw. So to make it more specific, if you had deposited on Bamboo a few months ago when the Naira was at around 360, right? Today, if you were withdrawing your money, you would be withdrawing your money at current exchange rates, which I believe it's somewhere around 460, 470, somewhere around there. So you've already made some money just on the naira, just on the exchange, just on, the change in the FX. And, if, luckily as well, your stocks have made money, that's like a double return for you. So with Bamboo, that's why we encourage investing in US dollar assets, because you're essentially protected from, like you mentioned, from inflation and from currency devaluations, essentially.
All right, thank you for that. So who would you say is a typical Bamboo user? So who are your customers typically?
Wow, I didn't know that we have a typical customer, honestly. We have a very, very, very wide customer base. So our minimum deposit is $20. So we get people who come in and they're depositing just $20 and they're buying and selling and they're trading, with that money, just recycling it. And they're doing really, really well. And it makes us really happy because, a big thing for us is that everyone should be able to grow their wealth regardless of what their starting point is. And we have, other users who are trading, five-figure portfolios. And again, various types of users. We also have users who are trading very, very frequently. And we have users who are clearly building a long-term portfolio. So trying to trade in assets that they hold for a long term. So yeah, a very, very wide range. So anybody with at least $20 is very welcome to come on the platform and give us a spin.
So essentially, I like that. I like the fact that you keep on mentioning that you want people to be able to create wealth. And I like the fact that, the starting point is $20. So in naira, that's, about, what's $20 in naira?
Now probably somewhere between 9 and 10K.
Yeah, 9 and 10,000. So essentially, you're actually contributing to, bridging the financial inclusion gap, but also, allowing users to build wealth, which is great. So, I have one last question about, the pandemic before we move on to the next portion of this interview. The coronavirus was unprecedented, to say the least. And essentially, the economy was and is, unable to function properly. Essentially, there isn't anybody to so-called feed the economy. So how would you say that the coronavirus has affected the economy? And also, what do you see moving forward, with the lockdowns being relaxed and industries being able to function to a certain extent?
When you say the economy, do you mean like in context of Bamboo or users, or are you saying like the general economy?
The general economy.
Like Nigerian economy?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like the effects of coronavirus we're all experiencing it in real time. And, I don't feel like anyone really can say, oh, this is what is going to happen. Or I feel like for a lot of us, we can just see what is currently happening. Retail is being affected. Hospitality is being affected. The airline industry is being affected because no one is moving around, essentially. And so for those industries, what we've seen is a lot of people and a lot of, companies starting to pivot in one way or the other. So, I live in Lagos and there are a lot of restaurants now that 3-4 months ago, I probably couldn't even get them to bring me food if I was parked outside. But now they're offering, delivery,
and
free.
Some are actually open,
Yeah. And we also see that some are open, and it's also provided new industries for people. I remember I was just speaking to my friends about how a few months ago it was so ridiculous that we'd be walking around with masks, but today it was like a huge, oh my god, I need to run back inside because I forgot my mask at home.
All the time, like, oh, I forgot my mask. I have to run back.
Actually, I'm like, yeah, so now I have a car mask just but so those type of things. And now, but then you see so much innovation happening already. People are already playing around with the masks. I remember seeing the face shields. So new businesses are popping up, trying to also take advantage of this. We're seeing more. I mean, the one thing I will say that is great that I wish we had, or that, it's shocking that we all hadn't already been doing, is just cleaning places. Like, I was so shocked that it was a new big thing that like they were going to start cleaning airplanes. I was like, should have been doing that.
That a long time ago.
But so that's great. And I think what we will, I can't really say what is going to happen because if you'd asked us 3 months ago how willing everyone would be to be moving around, I think we'd all have been shocked by, how quickly people are trying to get back to the beach, the clubs, the restaurants. So, I do think things will go back to normal, but it might be a different kind of normal. But I'm no more worried we're going to be stuck in, that we're all going to be scared of leaving the house. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So thank you for your thoughts on the general economy. I guess the question now is, in terms of intrinsic value for companies, how does that change given such a pandemic? Or, can you give your thoughts on that?
So what exactly are you referring to? I'm just trying to think.
So does intrinsic value change because of the coronavirus for a company, when it comes to stock value, to the value of the company itself?
I think it will depend on the type of company or types of, industries. And I think a lot of that would also depend on what the world looks like post-coronavirus. Because right now, we're all, throwing guesses around and we're all making guesses. I think one big thing is that a lot of stuff like delivery payments have probably moved so much quicker in the past few months than they would have been. So those types of industries are probably more, quote unquote, valuable to their investors intrinsically, etc. I think more industries will now, how should we say, pandemic proof, should we call it, an industry will now become more important. But how important, I can't really say in terms of, where I think we're going to value things going forward. But but I do imagine that, more business was more tangible things become important. So are you only relying on one revenue source that requires everyone to be in store? Or how much cash do you have if you're going to be can you withstand 6 months of revenue? I think those kind of stuff do become important, but a lot of how we value things will just depend on what the world looks like post. And I can't pretend to know, to be honest.
No, no, and I recognize that you're not an investment advisor, but I just thought to ask you. Right.
No, I definitely do think. I think, e-commerce, payments, even streaming, how even Zoom has probably made Zoom something, Zoom has definitely become more in the last 3 months. It probably has still gotten here, but in a much longer period of time. So those kinds of things, yes. But I guess the part that is the reason I'm, hesitant to throw guesses out there is because there's a school of thought of what it looks like when the pandemic has died down, and are we all just going to be rushing to leave the house? So is the value that has been built up now, is this long-term value, or is this value because we're all stuck indoors? And once we're outside, everyone is going to be like, hell no, I want to see you in person. I don't want to get on Zoom for the
I don't want to get on a Zoom call. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
That's definitely a valid analysis. So thank you for that. So I'd like to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about you, as a person and an entrepreneur. So currently you're the director of growth at Bamboo and also the co-founder. So you graduated with a degree in chemical engineering from Imperial College London, and you were previously the assistant to the Nigerian Minister of Power, Works and Housing. You then returned to the private sector as part of the transaction and asset management teams at African Infrastructure Investment Managers, one of Africa's largest infrastructure private equity fund managers. You are also a CFA level 3 candidate, and you're working to even the playing field for access to global investment opportunities for all Africans. So, reading through that, it seems like, before you started Bamboo and you co-founded the company, you had, a breadth of experience as well as quite an impressive degree from Imperial College London. So I wonder, how did you get to, excuse me, where you are now? Can you kind of walk us through that journey? Like what's inspired you to do what you're doing now?
So like I mentioned earlier, Daphne Bamboo was neat, was a very need-based, creating a solution for myself. But in terms of journey, yes, I went to Imperial College. It was a 4-year degree, but I knew very early on that the one thing I didn't want to be was an engineer. So I probably knew that by like, the end of my first year of uni. But, I also have Nigerian parents, so I was going to finish that degree anyway. Definitely. And when, I finished, I did different internships while at university, but I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I moved back to Nigeria. And I remember at the time when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I can't remember what it was. There was some talk or something I watched that talked about, find a problem that really bothers you and then just work at solving it. If you don't know what you want to do, work at solving it. So I remember at the time I thought, and I was like, what really bothers me about living in Nigeria? And it was that there was no electricity. It sounded so ridiculous, but I had to plan when I was going to charge my phone, or just no electricity, or get interrupted and I'm waiting for them to put on the gen, that kind of thing. So I decided, and while I was doing NYC, I said I want to work in something to do with power, and I was posted to Abuja. I was posted to Abuja for my NYC. I ended up being posted to the Ministry of Power, and it was the same time when they had the whole consolidation. So Fashola became Minister of Power, Works and Housing. Exactly. So it ended up being a sort of, you can say, infrastructure ministry. And I realized just from doing the work, working at the time, I worked with a really cool team. His essay, I worked directly on one of his essays, was amazing. It was just a great experience. And I realized, I really like infrastructure. I like, deals. But by the time deals get to the government, they're sort of already cooked. But it would be nice learning how to structure them, how they work, etc. And luckily, I was able to get a job at African Infrastructure Investment Managers, which is, like you mentioned, one of Africa's largest infrastructure private equity fund managers. And I spent some years working there. And it was a great experience, learned a lot about finance, learned a lot about deal structuring, learned a lot about growing, learned about project management, growing asset management, just growing companies generally. And while there, I also started doing my CFA. And, I've done level 1 and level 2, as you said, and I'm going to do level 3. I should have done it in June, but I'm going to do it in December. It was moved because of the coronavirus. And and then while doing that, like I mentioned, the need also came up. I was doing CFA, learning about investing, wanted to start investing in different things, and got to the point where I said, okay, I want to start investing in equities. I did some Nigerian equities, but US equities are more interesting. It's companies companies you love, companies you really, you identify with. And there was just no real easy way to do that. And my co-founder, Richmond, who's like just a great product mind, really good at tech, said, started work, said, we should work on building it. And we did. And, we got here. It all sort of just happened. So I wouldn't say that there was any, light bulb moment that led me here. It was more.
It kind of just happened, and then it's been a year. You said, right? A year since.
Not yet a year. So we launched on October 31st, 2019. So it's been
just over a year. I guess over
8 months.
Okay.
It's 8 months.
8 months. Okay. And how many users do you have, if you don't mind me asking, so far?
In terms of users trading or actively trading?
Actively trading.
So we have about 6,000 people actively trading on the platform.
Okay.
But we have multiples of that on it.
Okay. And so just kind of on a professional, basis, what would you say has been one of the most, like, some of the difficult things that you've experienced building Bamboo?
Um, I mean, I would say a lot of it is definitely just now having to, build through the pandemic, through all the uncertainty of everything that is going on right now, having to, stay motivated for myself, stay motivated team, and just keep running through everything that is going on right now is probably the most challenging part of this. But I feel like I've come to a point of balance, so it's all working out now. But the first few months of definitely the first month and first couple of weeks of the pandemic were quite tough. My co-founder and I were in San Francisco doing Y Combinator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're in San No, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're in San Francisco doing Y Combinator, and I had to I think I came back the day the airport closed anyway, so just that rush. My co-founder is still stuck in
San Francisco.
Yeah, wow. He's still stuck in San Francisco. So just getting all that done, getting home, quarantining, trying to still keep running the business, stay sane at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it worked out, so can't complain.
Right, and you mentioned that you've been able to find balance. So how have you been able to do that?
For me, a schedule has been the most important thing. Like I mentioned, the first month of the corona was really difficult, and I think a lot of that had to do with just feeling really unsettled, feeling very, very thrown around and all. Mm-hmm. And I figured that the most important thing going forward would be setting a schedule. So I try to wake up at around the same kind of time every day, get work done. I try to put everything in my calendar, literally everything in my calendar. And for me, it's also been very important to block out spaces of time when I'm not working and I'm not doing anything work related. And I'm also just not doing anything, actually. So I have I have Netflix time in my calendar. I have just chill in my calendar, that sort of thing. Because what you find is if you work from home, when you're working from home, I found you were almost working, 24-hour work days. There was there was no morning, no evening.
No afternoon. It's just kind of like working. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And getting dressed up also helps, actually. Once in a while.
It puts you in a good mood, right?
Yeah, it does. Because my first month I was doing the whole daytime pajamas, nighttime pajamas.
Oh my God, me too.
And I was like, okay, maybe let's not do this. But
I was definitely doing the nighttime pajamas and the daytime pajamas. I was really enjoying that. But we're back to work now, so there isn't really much time to do that. Okay, cool. All right, so I'd like to pivot a little bit and just take a couple of questions from the audience before we kind of wrap up and talk about some of the things. So I have a question here from Lucky, and he's asking, how can young people create wealth using the Bamboo platform?
So Bamboo essentially gives you a way to invest and to own equity in companies and make money. So a good example is, a lot of people bought Zoom when it was, I bought Zoom when it was about $80 a share, for example, a few months ago. And if I check now, the Zoom stock price is somewhere around, it's around $300 a share. And that's just in a few months. So what you find is if you only have 10,000 Naira and you put it in, and you had put it in, let's say, Tesla in March, today you'd probably have about 30,000 Naira. So you've 3x your money in a very short period of time. And the US equity market is one of the few places that you can do that at the same time. And if you're in Nigeria, another plus you get is while you're earning money from the stock price increasing, you're also just protecting yourself from devaluation. And so you're probably also profiting from a change for FX.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have another question here from Uzo, who's asking, what is the best way to structure your portfolio? Should one have more fixed income assets or aggressive assets?
So I can't give any sort of investment advice, especially because I know nothing about you and your finances. What I will say is the best way to structure your portfolio will really depend on you personally. Take a good look at your expenditure and your earnings, and also just what your risk profile is. Can you afford to lose some money every year so that you make a lot of more money every year? It really depends on a lot of factors, but obviously fixed income a lot less risky than equity, but also lower returns. So yeah, it depends on a lot of factors.
Depends on a lot of factors.
Yeah, but just your risk profile.
Okay. And would you be open to sharing your favorite US companies that you invest in?
So my favorite company ever is Amazon, which is so cliche, but
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious, but why Amazon?
To invest in, or just as a why Amazon? Because I love Amazon, the product.
Okay.
You know, like Amazon gave us Amazon Prime, and you know, so I'm loyal forever because I love Amazon Prime, and that's why I like it. And I think it's a great.
I think we're having a connection issue. Hello? Hello? So it seems that we're having some connection issues. We'll just wait for Yanmo to come back online. Apologies, it's raining in Lagos, so I am assuming that's the reason why we're having some technical. There she is. She's back.
I don't even know. Hi, sorry, I don't even know what happened. It literally just.
No worries. I think it's the rain. It's raining in Lagos, so we understand.
Yeah. Oh yes, badly.
Yeah. So you were telling us about your favorite companies to invest in.
So so you said companies. Okay, so definitely Amazon. I think it's a great company. You know, pushing boundaries. I really like. What else do I really like? I really like Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are two. They're both e-commerce companies. So I shouldn't say. What else do I like that isn't e-commerce? How many am I supposed to say so I can think about the topic?
5 would be good. I think 5 would be good if you could mention 5. Yeah.
Okay, so 5 that I like. I like Amazon. I like Shopify. I like Square.
Okay.
You know, well, I mean, I think I'll say I like industry. So I like e-commerce. So I like Amazon, Shopify. I like payments, and in payments, Square or MasterCard are my favorites. But you know, a lot of people also like PayPal. Visa is also a good one that you know if you're interested in. But I've said Amazon. I've said Shopify. I've said Square. What else do I like? I'm going to check my Bamboo portfolio actually.
No, you might as well. You might as well check it.
Yeah, I'd see what's.
Yes.
And let me see my top 5. Let me see what my top 5 are.
And it's good to know that you founded the app and you actually use it. So that's a good sign.
Oh my God, do people? I want to imagine most founders people use their companies. Okay, let's see. Okay. So yeah. Sorry, everyone.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Obviously, I really like Disney. How could I forget? It's like one of my favorite companies. I love Disney. I think, and I like Disney because I really, really like Disney. Again, I like the company, and I think, and you know, I think they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of cool stuff, and I think the streaming is going to be pretty big, pretty important. I think if they, figure out distribution, Disney becomes a must in people's homes. Because if you have kids, yeah, you have Netflix, but imagine having, kids when Frozen was a hit. You were probably going to need that Disney subscription, regardless of what was on your Netflix, that sort of thing. And the last one that I said Zoom as well, probably because I probably like Zoom the most because it's the best performing stock in my portfolio since I bought it ages ago. Okay. But I really, really like Zoom. I think they've managed to hold through this coronavirus period. I feel like they've probably had to grow a lot faster than they intended. Probably, we've seen the number of users spike up really, 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 really quickly, and they've managed to deal with it. I also really like the transparency and openness with which they came out, face the privacy issues that they had when people were complaining right at the beginning about getting hacked, etc., and just working to innovate. So for me, I think the one thing all like quote unquote my favorite companies have in common are that they're very focused on their user, very focused on building solutions that their users want and really like, and actually helping people do things better, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, fantastic. And I wonder if you have any advice for, young startup owners. You founded a startup just under a year ago. Do you have any advice for people that want to start businesses? Anything that you may have learned, in your experience so far?
I'm always hesitant about giving advice, but I guess I will say start is the most important advice I could give really for if you want to start a business, if you want to start investing, just start. There's probably never a great time and there's probably never a perfect time. So you might as well just start now and just get it done. Obviously, check, do a risk analysis of what your risk profile is, etc. But really just start, and it will probably be hard. It'll probably even be harder than you thought it was going to be. Obviously, this is in context of starting a business, but it's hard it's probably just as hard for everyone, maybe not. So the key thing is to just keep going no matter how it feels. There's loads of ups and downs, so it's important not to dwell in the downs and just, I always say when it's a down, then it can't really get worse from here, so just plan for the next up.
Right.
And just start, just do it.
Okay. Okay, that's some good advice. And I also wonder, so with your platform Bamboo, it's giving access to US stocks, but can you actually trade and invest in Nigerian companies? And if so, which ones would you say are maybe the top 5?
So right now we don't currently do access to Nigerian markets, but it's something that we're going to add shortly. So we essentially add, assets. Our entire product and development roadmap is going to be based on user wants and user needs and user requests. So right now we just have access to US stock markets, but like I mentioned, our aim is to democratize investing. So what I do ask anyone who uses the app, or if you don't use the app already for a specific reason, please send us an email at support@investbamboo.com and tell us what you would like to see. Let us know how we can make this the perfect investing app for you. So if you already use Bamboo, what other stuff would you like? If you don't already use Bamboo, tell us how we could have made you use it. And just support@investbamboo.com. We would love to hear from you.
Very customer focused and feedback focused, which is good. And I just wonder, can you talk to the importance of investing to essentially build wealth? Because a lot of young people, they want to achieve certain levels of success. They want to attain, generational wealth. But essentially, what are your thoughts on that? Essentially, how are investing and wealth correlated, if at all?
So I guess the thing is, what are the other what I always wonder what the other options are for building wealth. I think most people agree that you can't build wealth from a savings account, from just saving, right? So the other options are going to be start a business that grows really, really big, or invest in a business that grows really, really big. Most people, the average person doesn't have either the funds or the risk appetite to do angel investing in tech companies, with minimum. So that is out for the average individual until they've grown their money to a certain level. And with and so the options are investing a little at a time in equity or fixed income products. And I definitely advise people to do both, to be diversified based on their risk, based on their risk profile. Equity, and the big thing about investing is the compounding effect of returns. So you start small, you have, $10, you have $20 today, but that adds up. If you're fortunate enough that you're able to invest $10 every single every single month. For example, if you put $20 every single month, and that keeps earning interest, eventually you start to see the effects of compounding. So let's say you had $10 that was doubling. It turns to $20, not that exciting. It becomes $40. I mean, cool, not that exciting. But when $200 is doubling to 400, and that's doubling, you then start to see the effect. So I do say that the biggest, compounding is key. Compounding is the secret. And, the most important advice and the most important thing I would say about investing is consistency. If you're consistent, even with a small amount of money, whatever the regular interval is, you'll definitely see the effects, and it's a surefire way to build wealth.
All right, well, thank you for that. So I have two more questions for you. The first is, where do you see bamboo in the next, 10 to 15 years? What are your plans for expansion beyond what you're doing currently?
So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of our roadmap is dependent on, user wants, user needs, user feedback. Where we see bamboo is a one-stop shop for investing. It's essentially, we hope it becomes the platform that Africans everywhere choose to use if they want to invest their money. We hope it becomes your number one destination to build real wealth and earn real returns everywhere. So I do believe it should be just as easy for me sitting in Nigeria to invest in the Nigerian stock exchange as it is to invest in the US stock exchange, but also as it should be to invest in the Ghanaian stock exchange. So we want to enable that kind of investing, and we also want to launch in other countries. So we'll hopefully be launching in 2 other markets soon. And everywhere else, like I mentioned, please send us an email, support@investbamboo.com. If you're not Nigerian, tell us to come to your country. If you are, I just really let us know what you want. I think, like I mentioned earlier, my favorite companies are companies that are building stuff people want and that are user-centric, because if people love your product, they'll use it. And so tell us what you want, what would you like? And really, that's what we're building, right? A platform people want to use to invest.
Okay, well, fantastic. And I guess my last question to you would be about the tech industry. As you know, the tech industry is growing, especially given this pandemic. We're seeing a lot of, different innovations left, right, and center. And I wonder for you, what has it been like being a young woman in tech? What's that experience been like for you?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's been fine. I don't know how techy, quote and unquote, I feel. So I'm not really sure what the comparable experience will be, or comparable what I'd be comparing to. But it's been great. It's been an experience just running this company, building this company. I really, really like my team that I work with. I really like my co-founder. I think we have a great team of investors. So, doing this journey has been great, but I don't know how well I can compare it to, as a quote unquote woman in tech.
Okay,
it's not something I think.
Maybe, no, I mean, I understand that. So I guess maybe the pivoting question would be, how do we encourage more women to, to join, I guess, to be a part of the technology ecosystem? Because we don't see a lot of I guess we do see a lot of women in in deciding positions, but in comparison to men, the numbers are not as as large. So I guess the question would be, how do we set an environment that's enabling for more women to join the tech world? I guess that would be the pivoting question.
I mean, I think obviously a key one is creating spaces, creating environments where women feel safe and, feel confident and feel secure in, that they're able to go out and get their work done without fear of, harassment or any of that sort of thing. So definitely creating environments where women feel safe, and genuinely also I believe also there's an element of encouraging risk-taking behavior in women from younger ages, in girls really, teaching them that it's okay to, it's okay to fail, it's okay to just go out and try. Because even with finance, you see that so studies show that women do invest more, but women are also more risk averse. More risk averse than men, for example. And that comes up when you're thinking about industries like tech, right? Which is inherently probably riskier than other industries, especially as it's nascent. So those are my two things. I think if we create spaces that are safe for women, and where they feel empowered, where they know that they can come in, they can work, and they do not have to fear harassment or discrimination. And then if we encourage younger women to be, or girls from an early age, just to be more, take more risks, be more open to risk, etc. And, right now, like you mentioned, there are more men there are a lot more men in the space. It'll also be up to the men and the women in the space to make a concerted effort to go out to, look at what hiring practices are like, actually take a critical look at, every internal process and really ask yourself, is there any bias in this process? Are we leaving room for a gender bias in any way, shape, or form? Look at what your harassment policy looks like. Are we encouraging or discouraging women from working here? If you're a company, do you even have a policy on harassment, on, if we're going to be specific, sexual harassment, those sort of things? Those are the kinds of environments that help women thrive. And I think, the more women that there are in the industry, the more it signals that the industry is open for women and to women.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Okay, so I guess we're getting to the end of our time together. So thank you for your time. I just wonder if there's for our audience watching, just anything 30 seconds about Bamboo. Anything that how to download the app, why they should download the app, and why they should start investing with Bamboo.
Okay, so please go to www.investbamboo.com and download the app. Bamboo enables you earn money in dollars. So you can invest and start to earn money in dollars today by just downloading and using the Bamboo app.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Yanmo Omorogbe, who is the co-founder and director of growth at Bamboo Invest. It's been a pleasure having you on the program, and we look forward to speaking to you again and finding out the great things that Bamboo does in the future.
Great. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Scaling Through Crisis. My name is Lele Balde, and this program is brought to you by Business Day and Endeavor Nigeria. I had a great time speaking to Yanmo Omorogbe, who is the co-founder and director of growth at Bamboo Invest, which is essentially a company that allows you to invest in the US stock market. So definitely check them out if you want to start making money in dollars. And they always say that, you know, investing is the key to building wealth. So definitely check them out and see if there's anything interesting there for you. So yeah, it's been a great episode of Scaling Through Crisis, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, Friday. We'll be speaking to a lady who has been scaling through the crisis in a very personal matter, in a very personal way. Not to say too much, but definitely tune in to next Friday's episode at 2 p.m. I look forward to seeing you then. And thank you again for tuning in.